And here we are. Good evening, everyone. It's a new year, so happy new year to everyone. We're back from our little holiday break, and we're here for tonight for another session of Convergence Manifesto here on Horde of Tales. And thank you for tuning in, and thank to all of my beautiful players here who are joining tonight again. It's great to see you again. I've been planning the last 2 weeks on how to continue this, and now I'm glad that we're here again. How are you all doing tonight?
Like great. I'm so excited that we can play again.
Yes.
Yeah, I've missed you guys.
Yeah, I missed you as well.
Good to see all you're back. And
Yeah,
good to continue playing a good game in hopefully a good year. Well, the year is
Oh,
made
yeah.
good by playing with you, so boom, success.
Aw. That's so sweet. That's so good. All right. Yeah, I hope everyone also had a good holiday period with our various holidays that we had in the past 2 weeks. I ate way too much during New Year's Eve and just sat on the couch and watched movies. I have to admit, I watched Interstellar for the first time. I had never seen it before, and that was a pretty good movie. But I feel like that slowpoke meme saying that, since that's like 5 years late or something. So yeah.
I mean, it's a good movie to like watch when you have time. I like it because it's not the tension is pretty low in it. So the music is pretty good.
Oh yeah,
the music,
it sounds
the music
similar.
is excellent. It's so good.
Yeah. That was good, yeah. But now we're back here tonight, and we're gonna play some more D&D.
Yay!
Yay!
Before we dive in tonight's session, just a few standard announcements for today. You are here on Horde of Tales. You're probably not here by coincidence, and if you are, that's a great coincidence. Please stick around. We are playing tonight Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to play in the world of Eberron, playing adventures from the Convergence Manifesto adventure series. We are currently in the second adventure of that series, which is called Live Another Day. Awfully fitting considering the ending of last session. And we are hoping to play as much as possible of these series, but if you like what you're seeing here and you want to run these adventures yourself, check out acrosseberron.com. That's the project, that's the site that's making these adventures, if you want to check them out yourself. And hope you do. We are also any kind of battle maps or combat maps that you might see on stream. Those were made in Dungeon Draft, which is a great tool to build your own maps for D&D and other tabletop RPGs. And our overlay here is made by our very own Caro, and any character art that you see in the overlay is a cooperation between Serial and Caro. And they both brought the characters great to life, and that is very cool to see. And finally, but certainly not least, even in 2022, we still offer Cat Vantage, which is one of the things that you can buy with your channel points, and it works pretty easy. Sometimes there's this cat coming into view here, and presents itself in front of the camera. If the cat arrives in front of my camera, you can spend your challenge points on Cat Vantage and give advantage to the next roll of one of the player characters, or you can give it to the dungeon master, whatever you prefer. I'm not judging. You can do what you want, and that's how the Cat Vantage works. Is there anything I forgot before we get started?
We are all here. We are all in good mood. We all have something to drink. I think that's okay.
Yay!
I think we're ready.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's go.
Let's do a quick intro, and then we get right into the Convergence Manifesto.
I tried to channel the like, just happy-go-lucky feeling.
And we are back. We were just talking about how friendly Rayn looks in the character art, and we all know that she is by far the friendliest character of this bunch, and
That is
absolutely
her
not
genuine
threatening.
face when she's fucking you over.
Yeah, exactly.
And she knows it, and she's just happy about it. Just,
Oh yeah,
you know.
true.
All right. Well, last time on Convergence Manifesto, these bunch of adventurers started their second mission with the Clifftop Adventurers Guild for real, flying for a while on the airship of Captain Darian de Lysander, a cousin of Delphine de Lysander. You enjoyed
Luranda, not Lysander.
Loranda. I'm always doing. I have to. I'm gonna put a post note. I post it here. Loranda. I always say Lysander. That's the strange other. That's like the off-brand house. House Loranda.
Lysander Vantage. Anytime you hear it, Advantage.
I didn't hear anything. So on the ship of Darian de Loranda, you traveled towards the Graywall Mountains and enjoyed his hospitality. You met with a few of the crewmates of the ship, had some exciting conversations with a weather mage who was a very enthusiastic character, and eventually set up your plan for how to make your drop out of the sky into the Graywall Mountains. You agreed on an approach, and Darian provided each of you with feather tokens for a safe descent through the stormy clouds. But after jumping off of the ship, falling down towards the mountains, you found out that Delphine's feather token was not so safe after all and did malfunction. However, thanks to your ingenuity and teamwork, you could all make it to the ground mostly unharmed. And Sarah, I think your microphone had a dramatic moment of not picking this up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just saying that we knew about this. We knew he was shady. We knew he would try, like, we all felt it, right? Like, it's not just me. Like, we knew that something would go wrong.
Yeah.
And we still fell for it. We saved it, but we still fell for it. Like,
but now his horrible death is justified.
Great choice of great choice of words that you fell for it in this case. And you did survive the fall and started to scout out the surroundings in the Graywall Mountains. Noticed some small creatures in the distance that seem to have been keeping an eye on you, but also then vanished out of sight. And that's where we ended last session. And we're going to start this session with all of you continuing your journey through the dark, misty, and slightly cold Graywall Mountains. The three of you are currently trudging over rocks, rock outcroppings, gravel, and past the occasional very dry bush that cover the Graywall Mountains. As you, combined with your combined survival talents, follow the instructions on the map that you've been given that has marked the shining valley that you're looking for, and trying to figure out how to get there. It is still dark around you. Morning is slowly approaching, and you've been walking for a few hours. And it's hard to tell if you actually have come closer to your destination. At least you think so, but the environment around you stays very similar. Mountains, rocks, a cold air that sometimes waves over your faces. And you also notice that there's a sporadic little bit of snow falling down on you. Not much, just a few snowflakes here and there. Rebus.
Well, DM, tell me, did we sleep last time? Did we find refuge at all, or were we just walking?
You hadn't slept yet. I would say that since you're also like all working together to navigate,
Mhm.
that if you wanted to be looking out for any kind of refuge or shelter to hide in, you could have done so. You would have come by some things that at first would have looked promising. But at closer inspection, they would be like these very narrow caves that none of you would have properly fit in. But they were like some rocky outcroppings that at least would have given you something like a roof over your head that you could to
Okay,
like if you
yeah.
wanted to get any kind of shelter from the weather.
It's been a while, so I was I just didn't remember if we looked for a shelter at all or if we slept.
Yeah.
Because we jumped at night
Yeah.
in the end, right? Like we did
Yes.
the first plan, the original plan, which was jumping at night.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that we look for a place to sleep.
Exactly. Yeah. You haven't found
Okay.
something really fitting yet. But if you want to keep looking out for any promising shelters, that's totally an option.
I would like to do that. I'll turn to my companions with because I've fashioned a bit of a lantern with like my what is it called?
The Everlight lantern.
Yes, my Everlight lantern on the top of my glaive, and I'm just like holding it kind of as a beacon of light as we move. And when I see the snow start falling, I'll turn to my companions and say, hey, it might be wise to find refuge for the night. I wouldn't want a blizzard in the night to come upon us. It might be difficult to survive.
Is it night in the in the day before, or are we already on the next day?
No, you're not on the next day yet. No, it's still the same night.
We jumped at night.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
but it could be before and
everything
after
is dark.
midnight. So
It's certainly after midnight, and I think you're actually getting closer towards dawn at this point.
yeah. So that's actually what I wanted to think about. Like if we should just await dawn and then travel forward, or if it will be necessary to sleep.
It would certainly be easier to navigate during daylight. That's one thing.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I'm fine. I could continue. A little cold never bothered me.
Let it go, let it go. Sorry, Disney. Rebus will turn to Rayn and say, well, that's very, very good to know. I'm glad we don't have to worry about that. However, our vision is not an advantage during the dark, and I've seen some creatures following us for part of the path, and I feel like a rest might do us all good. Maybe not physically, since we seem to be okay, but probably mentally after and looking at Delphine, what we've just gone through.
There are
If
creatures
that's
following
okay,
us?
Miss Rayn.
Where? And I'm just going to like do a semicircle around the group. Like, where?
I'm not sure if they're actually following us right this
I have
moment,
no
but I've
idea.
seen them around.
Rayn hasn't. She's not perceived them, so I'm just going to like go out like what 5-6 meters and just like where? Because I do have dark vision.
Yeah. Rebus, you would, considering that you were also one who spotted the creatures, you would know that they haven't given chase to you, but you do know that there have been some creatures that spotted you. And also at this moment, there's no one tracking any of you, which Rayn does not have to stop your excitement to look for possible threats for the party.
So Rayn, even under the rope, abjectly does not perceive anything alive near us.
Exactly.
Okay.
No.
How disappointing.
So, do you want to see if you can
What
find a
does
shelter?
Delphine?
Yep, I think it's
How
best
does
if we're finding a shelter and then travel forward and when it's getting lighter.
All right. Let's start with the first checks of 2022 then.
my God.
Could each of you give me your choice, either a survival or perception check to spot possible places to rest?
Can't I just persuade the area to give us a place?
Look,
Can I romance the terrain?
I mean, Delphine,
You know,
the
be
wonderful
very
creature she is,
friendly.
probably could. I mean, if she were to persuade me of wanting shelter and somewhere warm and hospitable, I certainly would welcome those. 9 from Rayn.
No. All right.
It's a 17 for Rebus.
Rebus,
14 for
7,
me
14, fine.
for perception.
All right. Well, Rayn, you might still be looking mostly for possible threats that might be following you. But Rebus and Delphine, over the coming hour, the two of you together find a fairly large rock outcropping that gives you, it's not a cave, it's basically a few rocks that overlap each other and give you a little bit of refuge and shelter from the weather. The three of you can fit in there. It's going to be a tight squeeze, but at least you're going to have a rocky roof over the head and you're somewhat sheltered away from the wind and any kind of weather that might be coming.
I would like to try and pack some snow together to make snow walls so that leaving a couple of air holes for air exchange and breathing, so we can like actually close the shelter because snow is a good insulator. So yeah, give us a bit of a half igloo.
There has been a little bit of snowfall in the meantime, and you could start like gathering up whatever snow you can find. It's gonna take you some time to pack it together properly, though.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware like how much snow was around, so maybe we don't have enough.
There's like patches of snow here and there, and it has been snowing for a while now, but it's like this really light snow at this point. So,
well, I will try. We will see what happens.
All right, perfect.
Rayn just kind of watches quietly, like she's never really left any sort of civilization, at least above water. She's never wildered. She's never camped. Survival? I just sit here and sleep, and in the morning we continue. That is all, yes?
Yes.
Oh,
I
good
look
night.
at Delphine. Just lean over to Delphine and say, "Would you keep an eye on her?"
Oh,
Just,
definitely.
I don't know that much about organics, but it is my understanding it doesn't work that way.
Don't worry, I will watch out that nothing happens.
While Rebus and Delphine, while you two are having this conversation and Rayn is settling into sleep, you do notice Rayn being oblivious to it at this point, but you do notice that crawling up on one of her shoulders is like this millipede, this black millipede that's just crawling up on her.
Is it dangerous? Like, is it venomous?
Well, you
or is
would
it
know
just
of
hurting?
venomous millipedes that might make this a bit harder.
I just wanna reach out and take it off.
Just
You can easily like, are you gonna just flick it off, or are you gonna take it?
Yeah, sure,
pick it
why
up?
not?
You flick it off, okay.
Yeah.
You lean over to Rayn, and Rayn, you just see Delphine just leaning in to you,
Oh,
and
you want something?
you know.
as you approach, Delphine, you just flick the millipede against the wall behind you, and it just slides off from the wall.
Oh, you wanted that. Fine.
Yeah, don't want to bother you, so.
You can always bother me.
Guys, get a room. Rebus is very uncomfortable.
Technically, they do have a room here, but
Whatever are you
The-
talking about?
The two beautiful women and the android who's just there, not understanding anything that's going on.
the
Wonderful.
android that is currently building a snow wall at the exit of the. And to Rebus, you do notice like it takes you some time to put together a bit of a. You can get enough snow here to put it up to a wall to up like a little bit above your hip, so you can still like look out over it. But at least you also have a bit more shelter and maybe even cover from whatever might be approaching or trying to get in here. And so if you want to build more of that, you would have to basically go out again and get more snow, but that might also make it longer to really completely finish it up.
I just wanted a bit extra structural integrity and like protection from the wind, since I don't really know what we have to sleep in.
Before sleeping sacks or whatever our adventuring kits should have in our
Exactly.
inventory.
And I would also say that in your preparations at the Adventurers Guild, you would have like something like bedrolls at least with you, and anything else that you have in your inventories.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, I
not
don't
good.
know if we ended up getting like a tent or a winter tent or something like that, because Delphine and Rayn did the shopping, but I don't think we bought like material. I think we just bought clothes.
Mm.
Right.
No, but you have very
Clothes and mountaineering gear, so pittance,
Exactly.
rope,
Yeah.
etc.
and the clothes are very warm and suitable to also sleep in, especially once you tuck up in the bedrolls that you have with you. And in this place where you are, at least you don't notice too much from the cold wind on the outside. And also, since you're with three people in a fairly small room, two of them actually having body warmth, there is a bit of nice temperature in here.
Nice. I don't know if Rebus has any kind of body warmth.
Mhm.
Like they have some kind of like energy
Right.
source, right? But I don't know if warforged are
Right.
warm
So
to the
maybe
touch,
from
or they're cold.
like all the working gears in them, it's maybe a little bit warm.
Yeah, I was thinking kind of like an engine, right? Like
Yeah,
since they have to have some kind of magical like source of energy, maybe that's warm. I don't know. That's interesting.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, that's food for thought. And
I will get back to you on that when it's relevant.
this is important. So basically, you just want to tuck in here for the night. Are you also trying to get a long rest in here, or
I think
are you
we
just
would-
waiting? Are you waiting until the sun rises? What's the approach here?
I don't think we will have enough time for a long rest.
Hmm.
So, but I think we need
Oh, why not?
We'll get a short rest.
Do you not want to sleep and then continue in the morning?
To be fair, if you want to wait until morning, it would be at this point, you'd say about 3-4 hours until the sun is up.
Yeah, I'm not sleeping.
I don't need to sleep.
Well, because
But you do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, mechanically as a player, it's like long rest. Sure, that's fine and all, but mechanically, I don't really need it.
no, I was just thinking since it's the night, maybe we had to sleep and then continue in the morning. Mostly because it would be more safe to be able to see where we're going in a mountain, rather than.
I mean, most of us have like dark vision, and you have the lantern, so even if there is not completely full light, we will be okay enough.
Okay.
I mean, we will not survive like probably an army charging at us from somewhere.
Or a giant blizzard.
mountains, But
Yeah.
but how likely is
Yeah, then we could have a short rest and maybe like plan what we're gonna do next
Yeah.
and where we are in the map, like try to find ourselves and stuff.
I mean, with my lack of survival skills, I'm just as useless, or I'm just as good at night as day. So for me, it doesn't make any difference. And the plan is to go to the Shining Valley,
And
sit
there we
there,
can sleep if we need.
to sit there for an entire day to charge a gem.
Mhm.
Is there anything more complicated to consider?
I am not quite sure
Then how can we
what
plan
the
those things?
dangers, yeah, what the dangers are going to be. People seem to be quite reluctant to come here, which makes me think there might be some kind of challenge apart from the mountain itself, which is obviously not the most traveled through terrain.
But if we don't
I
know
would
what those
appreciate.
are, then how do you propose to plan for whatever we will encounter?
Well, it is always good to speculate and try to elaborate from what we already know.
Is it
Yeah,
Also,
good
we
to
have a map.
speculate?
but sometimes it's just okay if you're not having a plan and just see what comes. I mean, we all have some kind of knowledge how to deal with things.
Yes.
And I mean,
well,
we basically saw a few hours ago, so
I would still like to find ourselves on the map since we don't quite know where we are. So Rebus will
that's,
do that.
yeah, that's a good thing. That's
I'll hand over
actually.
the map as like, as far as I can tell, we're on the mountains, and we have been heading. DM, you point this out to me. We're heading west, northwest.
North. I think I said it was like northeastern direction.
We're heading northeastern towards our direction. That's as far as I know.
Maybe if it's
Yeah.
if we have more light, we can pinpoint out like some kind of special shape of a mountain that's also marked on the map or anything.
Yeah,
That
since
might
we
help.
had a lot of cloud cover when we came,
Yeah.
I would love to, if we're lucky, hopefully it will clear up in the morning, which was the weather prediction that the mage gave, and we'll be able to see more of the outline of the mountains and see where we are. Because right now I assume it's like, DM, correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume it's like all cloudy and misty and just hard to see past
It's dark, it's misty, it's cloudy, it's terrible conditions to look long distances.
Yeah, so if that's okay, maybe we can, tend to our wounds if we have any. I'll try to repair myself from the couple of scratches I got falling down. We can rest for a bit, maybe eat a snack, and I'll look on the map, see if we can find ourselves, and otherwise we can just continue in the morning, which should just be in a couple of hours when the sun rises, and hopefully the weather will improve as we head out.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
If that's
Yep.
easier for you, sure.
All right. So in that time that you're going to take, any one of you who want to can take a short rest. There was easily enough time for a short rest. So if you have anything you recover on a short rest, or if you want to spend hit dice or something to restore hit points, now's your chance. There's not enough time if you're just waiting for sunrise for a full rest, but you do have more time to study the map that you have with you. And as pointed out previously by you, the challenge with really pinpointing your location at this point is that it's hard to see any landmarks that you can see. You really going more by a gut feeling and your survival talents to pinpoint where you are on the map right now. And from the knowledge you have at this point, you mostly assume that you're going in the right direction. It's going to take the sunlight of the morning and hopefully the better weather conditions, which you do notice throughout the time that you spend in the shelter, as there's slowly more sunlight coming in from the outside. You do notice that the wind is calming down, and also the clouds are clearing up, just as predicted by the friendly weather mage. And you do, around dawn, you do see these warm beams of sunlight cast into your shelter that you have here, and you hear the very few bird songs of whatever birds do live at these altitudes. And even here in the sky above you, this cry of an eagle that is starting their morning circles over the mountainside.
Okay. Should I roll anything to see if we find ourselves, or how are you, Delphine, with survival and all these things?
If you want to check now with daylight, if you like basically step out of your shelter and you're going to look around, if you can like see any landmarks or big mountains that are also on the map, any one of you who want to check if they can use that to pinpoint their location would give me a survival check, please.
I wanna help, but I'm not proficient in survival.
Me
No,
neither.
me neither, but worth a try, you know. Hey, it's not bad. It's a 17. I
17?
rolled well.
13.
13.
It's
All
still
right.
morning. I need to get adjust to the light. So
Exactly. Sometimes you just need first your morning coffee before you start it up. And you, Rebus and Delphine, both of you step out of the shelter and you look around, and there are actually some of the mountains that you see are on the map that you have. There are these peaks that you can see, these outlines that you see, and with your combined knowledge of outdoor survival, you do see that you are truly on the right track. And you also see in the distance an outline of a few peaks that are also on the map, and those are in the direction of where the Shining Valley should be. So, weather permitting and your survival abilities permitting, if you keep the course on those mountains, that should help you, as long as you have light, to steer towards the right direction.
Okay. Perfect. Then
Can I also, as you leave the shelter or get ready to get your day started, could I also have perception checks from everyone, please?
You may.
oh boy.
We're starting out with a lot of checks, but I want to see what kind of info I can give you.
12 for Rayn.
12 for Rayn. 18.
12. I need to
Well-
jail this die pretty soon because it's just getting lower.
All right. So that was a 18 for Rebus, right?
yes.
Or am I? Yeah, 18 for Rebus, and 12 for both Rayn and Delphine. Rebus, as you are clearing away some of the snow shielding that you have made, and getting things ready, you do see that in a few of the remaining patches of snow, there are footprints in them. Footprints of smaller sized boot footprints.
I will call to Delphine and Rayn and just like kind of gesture to them to look outside the window. The window. The window. The hole between the snow and the rock.
Oh, we have. I thought we completely
I
left
think
our
we
shelter
already
by
started.
now.
Yeah.
No, if you're already outside of the shelter, then
Well,
Rebus, you can just
yeah.
call them over from wherever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just, Where are the footprints going? Like, what kind of pattern do they do? Are they circling where we were? Are they like passing by? Are they?
If you
Do they
follow
mysteriously stop?
they don't mysteriously stop, but you do see them. They basically go in a semicircle behind the rocks of your shelter. So they basically lead behind the rocks of your shelter and a bit up to an elevated position. and then they lead further into the mountains, into another direction than you would have to travel. So you're basically going more into a northern direction, and the footprints lead more to a fully eastern direction away from you. But the footprints were as close as like really in front of your shelter here.
Yeah, we were not
Uh,
trying to be quiet or anything, so probably
Yeah,
we could.
is there
hear.
on the map any kind of settlement in the near?
On the map, there are no settlements. There is
Okay.
Yeah, is there like any kind of society, tribe, or any kind of culture that is supposed to live in this mountain area?
give me an history check.
I would guess from the size of the footprints, it might be like goblins or halflings or gnomes or
Halflings, yeah.
something.
15.
15. So what you already were known or briefed on before you came here is that the mountains here are the border area between Breland and Droam. So there's probably whatever kind, and the news was also that Droam was putting border patrols into the Graywall Mountains. So there could be many of the various species that live in Droam around here, which would be ogres, orcs, goblinoids, minotaurs, all the likes. But Rebus, you would also know that, especially terrain-wise, the Graywall Mountains would also be a suitable biosphere for harpies to make their dwellings. But the footprints you see here are not typical harpy footprints.
No, I was going to say, do harpies wear boots? I was a bit confused.
There might be some lost memory of you that knows about harpies wearing boots, but you assume that harpies do not regularly wear boots.
Sad.
Not their style. Okay, well, good to know that harpies are a potential, like, someone we might encounter. I mean, the boots just seem a traveler, which is just like, that's why I was a bit intrigued, because that's why I
Is
was
it-
asking if there's any
Is it
settlements
one set
posted here. 'Cause
of boots or is it several?
Glad you ask. If you look at the prints, it's not really clear to see because some of the wind might have already blown over some of the footprints, but there's at least prints of 2 small booted people.
Why are we so concerned in the first place? Why would these prints, their owners, stop us from reaching our destination? We should just continue on ahead.
I mean, they are
Yes.
not stopping us, but if they, let's say, attack us, that might be a problem.
Then they
Well,
shall
there
be
might
met with
be-
a mighty resistance.
There might be people who want to find the same thing we want to find. There might be people who want us to never find the place we want to find because it might have significance to
And
them.
we are not
There might be
going to
people
let
who,
them stop us.
yeah, and there might be people who just want to kill us because, like, someone just tried to kill Delphine for no reason.
And that will not happen.
Listen, Rayn, Miss Rayn, I do really appreciate your very optimistic outlook on life, and I am not one to shy from a fight, as you know. But I have come to find that caution is usually wise when dealing with potentially dangerous things. I'm not saying we shouldn't continue, I'm just saying the more information we can gather from the other living beings that we encounter or might encounter through here might help us in our way. Just to be aware of their existence.
I would imagine there's a great number of threats and things to be concerned about. But I am more of a fan of not closing my eyes to them. Certainly, you raise excellent points, but meeting them head on.
Well, then let's try to avoid a ambush. But you are right. We should get on going, and I will
Yeah.
take
We
my
can just stand
lantern
still all
lantern
day
and
here and try to make sense out of this.
we don't seem to be going the same direction as
True.
our fellow travelers, so I guess let's see how much we can cover in one day.
All right. With the knowledge of the footprints going away in a different direction, but also the knowledge that you are very sure that you're going into the right direction for the valley you're looking for, you start the day early after sunrise and travel under way better weather conditions than when you arrived. There are still clouds over you, but they are smaller, and there's a lot of room for clear blue sky over you. And throughout the morning, the temperature also slowly rises. Mind you, it never really gets really warm. You need to keep on your warm clothes that you brought with you, but it's not terribly cold either. You're not shivering that much, only when there's a bit of cold wind blowing in your faces or overexposed skin. But it's a generally mild and nice temperature to be wandering the mountains. That being said, you're still fairly high up in the mountains and need to keep an eye out for any dangers. And your first hours at night have already made you a bit careful. You watch where you step, you look ahead on the ridges that you walk on. You're wary of any kind of gravel underneath your feet. But danger lurks everywhere. And after a few hours of travel, as you're slowly pushing towards the end of morning, the sun shining down on you, you come towards the edge of a ravine. On your right side, you can see that there's a very steep ravine leading down to the side. You already see that there's a lot of boulders and rocks that seem to have slipped down that ravine, and also little pebbles and bits of gravel are sliding down there. To get across the ravine, you see that there is a narrow path between the ravine on your right side and a very sheer mountain wall on your left side, allowing you to kind of lean against the wall while you're trying to cross this ridge. But it's a narrow path, and you would have to walk single file here. How would you like to approach this?
I have anything?
We still
Yes.
have rope, right?
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
we
but
used for our fall.
we took this in again,
So we should-
so
Yeah.
you can use rope as much as you like until it's gone.
We should probably tie ourselves to one another just to keep
Prudent.
ourselves safe. You're both skilled in magic. Is there anything that might help us have a safer path through it?
My magic is most beneficial when probing minds and dispatching my enemies. Not much else.
I also don't have anything for this situation.
Well, we should have loaded up on feather tokens. It would help with the fall. Anyway, I will start tying like the rope to in a kind of harness, so we're not like tugging only on like someone's waist or something like that. So I like come close to Delphine and I can kind of like go over her coat and like over her shoulders, and because we have enough, like what is it, like 50 feet or something of rope.
You have
So
way
I go
enough
like
rope.
over her shoulders, like with your permission, excuse me, and like around her legs, kind of like, you know, a safe harness. And then I tie one on myself and I tie the same on Rayn.
All right. Cool.
That's some kinky shit.
Rebus knows Shibari. It's canon now. I don't know why they know it. They don't know why they know it, but hey.
We're
It looks beautiful. The knots are like safe. It's perfect.
The more I wear
more-
this, the more comfortable it gets.
that is very true.
Great to know.
And
Oh, well.
after all the knots are tied correctly and you're all secured in the ropes and the masterful craftswork of Rebus, you start your careful walk over this ridge that you're walking. And you do notice how narrow this path is. And there's also a lot of rubble and gravel underneath your feet as you're keeping your balance, leaning to one side, sometimes maybe even peeking down into the ravine, which goes down very deep. Yes, Rebus.
Who's going first?
I'm going.
Addison.
Okay. Great.
Delphine is leading the way. Who's behind Delphine?
I think it would make sense for Rebus to be in the middle to kind of offset our weights. For Rayn, doesn't matter either way. I mean, put me where you want. So she'll just take orders. She'll just follow directions if there are directions to be given.
Sure, I'll go in the middle.
All right. So we have Delphine, Rebus, Rayn walking. Delphine, you're at the head of this rope chain, and you put one foot after another, and you do notice that you're a bit unstable footing. Could you give me either an acrobatics or athletics check at this point?
I'm giving you an acrobatics check because I'm proficient. It is a high number. And this is 24.
24. Wow. All right. You do quickly find your balance again. It's almost like the steps you take when you're wielding your rapier. Just a matter of elegant footwork. And the companions behind you don't even notice that there was a moment of instability in your footing as you carefully move further on.
You play it off as part of the choreography. It's all good.
Yeah. It's like totally easy. Nothing to worry about.
You're half mountain goat. It's fine.
We're learning so much lore today about the characters. You continue over the ridge, and Rebus, you are in the middle here, and your steps are a bit heavier at this. I mean, and they might also make the most sound, but you're also keeping an eye on Delphine in front of you, sometimes looking over your shoulder at Rayn behind you. But you do also then, while you're holding part of your weight against the wall next to you, you do notice that there's like sand that's flowing down the wall. And as you look up, you hear this sound. And there's this rock that's coming down towards you, approaching you. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
With advantage, because I'm cool.
Because danger sense, yes.
You see danger coming. That's a rock.
You're
Terrible.
very
Oh,
much seeing
no.
it coming.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God, I rolled I had a 5 and then 21, so I'll take the 21.
As the
been
rock
bad.
approaches,
That would have been so bad.
you, as gentle as the situation allows, you push Delphine a bit away from you. You step a bit back and also shove Rayn a little bit back. And this rock just dong, 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 falls by you and into the ravine, where you could just hear it echoing down in the depth.
I turn to Rayn and Delphine and say, sorry, I didn't have time to let you know.
It's all okay.
It's
was
okay, we
just
almost died.
an odd rock.
You faced it, and you overcame. All that's left is to continue stepping forward.
And hopefully not kill us.
You continue further onward, keeping all of your eyes out for any other incoming danger, any other rocks that might fall and cause everyone to die. And you, fortunately, make it across the ravine and slowly come on stable ground with more room for you to spread out and still having a clear view of that mountain range ahead of you that you checked on the map that's guiding you as kind of like your North Pole here to where to go. And do you want to, I'm assuming as you're now more in a safe area again, are you going to untie the ropes or are you going to stay tied up together?
No, if there's no danger of falling, I feel like we can go without the ropes. And
Yep.
since Rebus apparently is an expert in Shibari, there's like a slip knot effect where like you can just pull from one of the ropes and it all comes down and it takes like 5 seconds.
Or I can
It
just
isn't
spin in a circle and go, Ada!
That is what happens, yes. And you
Delphine started it. I'm sorry.
You don't look sorry or sound sorry.
Yeah, true.
This is the kind of background story we come for here. And
I am so concerned about what the heck, how, why Rebus knows this. What happened in their past?
That's a good question.
which you think about as you coil up the rope again, carry it on your shoulder, and start wandering further on as you're slowly pushing past afternoon. And at this point, I'd like all of you to make either a survival or nature check at this point.
Cat!
Where is Cat? Cat is on the
Oh.
floor, goddammit.
Oh, he's so close. Oh, he's so
Come here.
close.
10 for Rayn.
Kitty, kitty, kitty.
10 for Rayn?
What were we checking?
Nature or survival?
10.
Oh.
It's
And a 10 for
me.
Rebus.
19 in nature.
And
A
19 in nature. And a 19 in nature.
Someone-
That is excellent.
Next roll advantage.
Someone give us advantage.
Please, 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 please.
Oh,
You
one?
Delphine, with your 19 in nature, as the afternoon progresses, you do notice that the clouds are getting thicker and more again. There's more cloud cover gathering over you. And going by the direction of the movement of the clouds, they are approaching your direction that you're going into. And these clouds are the clouds that you see closest now are still grayish clouds, look like rain or snow, but behind them you also see very dark clouds approaching, really heavy. You know this from your time on the sea. Those look like heavy thunder clouds that are approaching here.
I'm looking to the rest of the group like we might need to hurry. How far is it from the valley?
It wasn't supposed to be a very long journey, right, DM?
No, but it is also, you're also going on a map that points out a location that's more like myth or rumor. It shouldn't be a too long journey, and you're now almost a day of travel in. But you don't know, going also by the map that you have, you're at least also approaching this landmark that you saw on the map. So you would estimate, I'd say about at least another, maybe about another 12 hours of travel to get there.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to know if it was like a 2 to 3 day thing or if it was like a 2 weeks, like.
No, it's not. No, it's certainly not weeks at this point. What you would say at least another 12 hours of travel.
Okay.
Okay, so and I guess the storm will come earlier. Definitely earlier.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we need to find shelter from that.
Yeah, we need to hurry and find a good shelter that can keep us safe.
All right. So you pick up the pace and keep an eye out for a shelter that you can safely bunker up in. All right.
Yep.
Well, you quicken your step and do keep an eye out for any kind of shelters, but you don't quickly find anything. There are some outcroppings that first look promising, but as you inspect them closer, they're too small or they're inhabited by angry wolverines who reach out and try to claw away at you. As you look for the first hour, you do notice already that it's getting dark above you and there's rain coming down already. First a light drizzle, but it quickly turns into a fairly heavy downpour. And in the distance, you can hear, you see the flash of lightning, but it takes quite a while before you hear the thunder. But also up here in the mountains, the thunder echoes between the mountain peaks. But it's still far away, but it's heralding its approach at this point. As you're still now, mud's now raining, also your clothes getting soaked with the rain, is there anything you like to do to, is there anything you would like to try doing to help you in finding a shelter or improvising your shelter?
Do I have any shit with me?
I got nothing useful in that regard. I really don't. The most Rayn does is just use shape water to like flow the rain away from her immediate face.
Yeah.
But as for actual items, I got nothing.
Okay, we're in the mountain area. There are a lot of mountains around.
That's true.
So if we are looking around, and like also a bit above onward onto the mountains, can we see something that will fit as a shelter or as a cover at least?
If you look, if it's just for now, if you're looking for cover and you look up the mountainside, there are like these rocks that are jutting out that could at least be a roof over your head, but they're not a full cave or anything. So
Okay, are there kind of like sticks or stuff like laying around?
There are a few very dry bushes and shrubs around where you could like at least get some twigs off, but like full-blown branches, that's going to be hard at this altitude to find. Or like
I go close to Rayn and I ask, Miss Rayn, does your ability to shape water also work with snow? Also, is there snow where we are? I didn't even ask.
At this point, if there was any snow, it's being washed away by the rain that is coming down.
No. Well then, never mind.
Unfortunately, only water in its liquid state.
So, just a question. If we're taking these twigs and everything from the bushes, would it be fitable to basically craft something that would work as a cover if we are having like fabric? Like to put it on the side of the stone roofs?
Which would mean that you would take time to gather the twigs and the branches.
I mean, how far away is this?
Are we already?
Well, the stony roof, to call it that, is from here. You can see it from here. You're there in like 15 minutes.
And we're already like the storm has already caught up to us.
It's
At least
raining on us.
the rain is already coming down on you.
Rain, yes, the storm not, but this might give us enough time to collect enough so that we can set up this thing. the other thing, what might be more problematic is like to have things that we can use to combine with the twigs.
I have a question,
I'm
companions.
strong. Is there?
Do either of you have mm, large receptacles to collect water in?
No.
I will cup some of the falling rain into my hands, and using shape water, I will solidify it into ice.
Oh, that would work.
I can create water.
Let's
Let's
go.
go to this shelter.
All right.
Igloo number 2.
All right.
Elsa's
Shape
Palace
water
2.0.
lets me create water into simple shapes and freeze them. This change lasts for an hour.
Is there any kind of dimension limits to how much you can freeze?
5-foot cube. Can I do
A
this multiple
5-foot cube.
times? Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
And it's not like just a concentration effect that
No,
applies to just one.
It does not specify concentration. Oh no, if you cast this spell multiple times, you can have no more than 2 of these things.
Which means you could have 2 5-foot cubes stacked on top of each other, for example, which is already 10 feet tall and 5
They also
feet
don't-
wide.
Yeah, they also don't need to be 5 feet wide. Just like we could.
Yeah, they can be
have
just like
half of it
walls.
and- yeah.
It has to fit within a 5-foot cube, the dimensions of the ice
okay.
being created.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Then,
all.
yeah.
I think that's already something that contributes to dirt or mud or whatever being constructed.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's half the
Exactly.
job, I think.
So, would it be correct to assume that on your way to this rocky outcropping, you gather like any kind of twigs and other supplies you can find
And I
for
just collect
kind
rain
of-
as it's falling.
you certainly can, and it looks dope.
Yeah, you have like
so-
an umbrella of rain on top of rain. It's wonderful.
No, you can, as you're moving, you can't like bend all the rain around you, like you're still getting wet or something, but you do at least like to have like these beams of rain, these wisps of water around you as you like steer them, and your other companions are gathering whatever twigs, leaves, branches, pebbles you can carry, while the rain just keeps coming down on you as you arrive at this rocky roof, which you can already see like on the edges of that roof. There's like the water coming down as well in like these strings of water. But underneath it, you're at least dry. And you could start putting together this amalgamation of nature's resources that you found with an application of shape water and solidifying that water.
I will create like 2 sorts of awnings coming down the sides of the overcrop.
Right, so that you basically extend the space of shelter from the rain that you...
and going down at an angle. So basically making that outcropping into a literal umbrella.
Cool.
That actually goes down around us a little bit. With
Also,
my total of 10 feet of surface area.
Gotcha.
also, I'm pretty strong, so if there's any rocks, from like boulders that might have fallen down that they're big enough that are worth carrying over, I will do that.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. And you can also like already on your way pick up these larger boulders. Those are no problem for you. And I assume once you're over there, all of you are just working together to build up this very improvised shelter at that moment. Rayn, you solidify the water into these awnings on the side. And Rebus and Delphine, I need both of you to make a survival check, but with advantage due to Rayn's application of the extra awnings, which makes it a bit easier to build around.
Take that, cat. Rain vantage.
A 17 for me.
17?
10.
10. All right. Rebus, your physical prowess and strength are in your advantage to help like quickly put together rocks and at least start building some more parts of a wall. That's something that can keep out a bit of the wind. And
Yeah, if we
Delphine,
already-
you
if-
do
if-
indeed.
Sorry. I was saying if Rain has taken care of the sides, I would probably try to find some rocks to put on the front, so if the storm comes and it's very windy, we don't just, get wet anyway.
Oh, I had a plan for this.
Oh,
Actually.
good.
Okay. Delphine, you do also bring progress to building the shelter, but with the wind now also picking up, you do notice that it gets harder to put whatever supplies you have found to put them together quick enough. And there's still now at this point, the rain is heavy and the wind that's blowing is also getting really cold and also blowing into your soaked clothes that all three of you at this point are soaked. Could I have from everyone a Constitution saving throw, please?
Is this
Oh,
against
shit.
cold?
It is against cold, yes.
I has advantage.
What's that?
Come on, please give me something.
12.
Oh wait,
12?
why am I rolling on the thing? Well, I rolled once on
What is it?
Astral by accident. I will roll the other one dice. I just got used to it. Oh, that's higher. 19 total.
19? Delphine?
12.
12. 12 from Rebus, 19 from Rayn, 12 from Delphine. Rebus, as you put down one of the larger rocks that you gathered, you do suddenly feel this grinding sensation somewhere on the inside of your structure, and you just feel there's some kind of gears and servos that are like clicking into each other, which
I'm just like, oh my
really
back.
and you notice that your range
Oh.
of movement is a little bit limited. You take 1 level of exhaustion from
Oh
this.
shit.
And Delphine, you feel in your not metal body, you just feel the exhaustion, the tension, the pressure that is coming down on you as you're building this shelter. You also take 1 level of exhaustion, which means of 1 level of exhaustion, you have disadvantage on any ability check you make.
Oh, fuck it.
Fun.
We get this.
But
We have a shelter now.
the good news is it is not a perfect shelter. There is still like wind and some bits of water coming in, but you are more protected.
I will use this winter coat that I have as a last thing to cover our entrance from wind. I think it's wide enough to do this, and I have a second coat with me, which is not that thick, but it's suitable.
All right, you put out your backup coat out of your backpack. You hang your wet, drenched winter coat at the entrance of the shelter, which works in its favor because due to the weight of the water in it, the wind has a harder time of blowing that coat inside. You put on your second coat, which is a little bit, not as thick and cozy, but at least you have something warming you up. But now the three of you are standing in here out of a shelter made partially out of rocks, twigs, and a little bit of magic.
Can I make a fire?
Ice.
And since the coat is covering the entrance, it's also like the smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine for you, but Rayn and Delphine might die of smoke poisoning.
That's true. Can I then just like overheat my core a little bit so like I can kind of have a cloud of vapor that just kind of poofs from my coat from like the heat within? Like a
Basically trying to raise your own temperature.
yes.
Can you give me another Constitution saving throw to see how that goes?
Badly. It goes badly. 6.
Oh fuck.
So you run through mechanisms and systems that you have to start heating up your core temperature. And you do notice, and also especially Delphine and Rayn, you do notice standing close to Rebus that their temperature is increasing. And they do come to a temperature that is similar to an oven fire, just nice and cozy to sit next to and warm yourself up. But you do notice that at one point that through the whatever edges or openings you have in your plating, there's this orange glow starting to come out and a bit of smoke. You take
Oops.
6 points of fire damage
Oops.
as your
Of myself.
as you overheat your core and reflexively also start turning that off again to slowly lower your temperature.
Yeah. Worth a try.
But
I
the good thing about this is, since you are made of at least some kind of alloy of metals, there is residual temperature on your outside. So at least the outside of you feels rather nice and warm to the touch. And there is like this residual warmth coming off of you.
I somehow have Frostpunk vibes.
Yeah. Everyone hug the warforged.
I hug the warforged that I give you your lost 6 hit points back.
Oh, thank you.
I
Yeah,
hugged
so
the
that way, since
warforged
you-
through the Delphine.
Yeah. I was worried about Delphine because you changed your coat and everything. I'm not worried about Rayn because cold apparently is just whatever. So
Okay.
thank you so much. That is so nice.
You're welcome.
Oh.
So as Delphine hugs into to Rebus and channels some healing powers into them, Rayn, you cuddle up against Delphine, and the three of you are in this improvised shelter as the weather rages outside. And how that's going to continue, we're going to find out after the break, because this is a good time to take our break for tonight. So let's see how this continues. We're going to take a bit of a 10-minute break. So take the time to refill your drinks, get a quick snack or something, stretch your legs, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes. So like 30, whatever hour it is, wherever you are. And
30 past the hour.
Past.
30 past the hour. Thank you
Yep.
very much. So see you in 10 minutes. We're here.
Yay!
We're all alive still.
Yay.
And we
Let's go.
Still.
are going to see how this adventure continues. If you tuned in here and you like what you see, we're always happy to have you follow us on our various socials. Come and check us out on Twitter, on our Discord, which you will find the information below. Or we're also always glad if you give us a follow or even a sub here on Twitch if you enjoy what you're seeing. We do hope that you hang around if you like what you see, and are happy for everyone who's along for the ride here.
Yep.
The Discord.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the Discord gets a revamp. I'm working on it.
All right.
Ooh,
Okay.
So
excited to see.
I was going to say that the VODs are here on Twitch at all time, but we also host our videos on YouTube, and there should be a link down below the screen. And
Exactly.
they're in there with wonderfully snarky bookmarks.
Timestamps.
Timestamp.
Timestamps, words.
Exactly.
Which are
Yes.
totally not spoiling anything.
But
If
subscribe
you
to our
know,
YouTube
you
channel.
know.
We need more
Yeah.
people because then we
Yes.
can finally edit the URL.
Exactly.
That'd be
Please,
nice.
check us out on YouTube, and where you can also catch up and see snarky timestamps made by made by a certain person who uploads these videos.
One and only.
All right. Well, the three of you are in a very heavily improvised shelter out in the cold Graywall Mountains. Rain is pouring down around you. The wind is kicking around. You're huddling up against the warmth of the overheated Rebus. And
The
it
things I do for the team.
it is a it is at the same time, it has a bit of a cozy atmosphere since you're all so nicely in here together. Was it not that you're in this heavily improvised shelter that, depending if the storm gets worse, might crumble down around you? But for now, it holds. It does hold. And you do notice, however, that the thunder is a lot closer at this point. You see flashes of lightning outside, and just moments later, you hear the thunder crack in the sky, echoing between the mountains around you. From whatever kind of openings that you have in your shelter, you can see actual lightning striking not that far away from you. Just like a blinding flash of lightning strikes into the ground as the rain keeps pouring down all around you. The wind rattling the rocks and twigs and the ice, pushing against the wet winter coat that Delphine has put in the entrance that is now just flapping around in the wind.
As the lightning falls, Rain just looks at it fascinating, like not blinking as it does, like just marveling at the power it's demonstrating.
And Rebus is worryingly considering if maybe they should have put their glaive as a lightning pole outside so the lightning doesn't go to them, you know. But they'll be close to the ground, you know. Hopefully, through the rock, everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine. Totally.
Yeah, if not, you're touching me, so
You
you're
think
getting
and say
electrocuted
that.
as well.
I mean, we survived more dangerous things.
It's true. Well, don't underestimate a storm. I guess you should know, being in the sea. Rebus will
This
turn
is...
to... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Rebus, sorry.
Ian.
Go ahead.
Oh,
No, go ahead, Rebus.
cool. Rebus will turn to Rayn, and since she's looking at the lightning, kind of like, and just look with her as the lightning reflects on their faceplate and kind of mimics the already cracked visor. And just comment, like, you hadn't seen a storm here in the surface before, right?
Oh, I have.
Oh,
Well, on the surface of the sea.
right. I imagine that is a bit of a different sight.
No
With
less
the...
violent, though.
I believe you. As we see, like, lightning kind of falling on the rock and just like splintering, you know.
The younglings would swim to the surface during stormy days and would have a sort of macabre game of sticking our heads out over the water in open storms and see how quickly we can dodge any bolts.
That's very dangerous. Light is a very fast thing. I don't think anybody could dodge it if it were to fall on their head.
Then it simply meant that they were not fit enough to survive in our world.
You have strange upbringing laws. I don't believe I quite understand, although there's a lot about the culture of organic creatures I don't understand. So it might just be me.
I don't
Well,
disagree with the notion it is quite radical, cold, I guess it was this compassionate, but effective.
I would call this quite dangerous, to be fair. But then, yeah, probably more dangerous things in his life.
Aren't you very daring?
What do you mean?
Well, I don't pretend to know, obviously, but by what I have heard in our few travels together, you were a pirate, right? Or at least you were in command of a ship in the high seas. And
Oh, yeah, you could say I lived a life like a pirate for quite some time, several years.
that is fascinating. And I imagine very dangerous as well. This rain was under the surface of the sea, but you were on top of it, and it can be quite terrifying. I'm afraid I don't have much experience with it, but something inside me tells me there's a lot of dangers to look out for.
Oh, danger waits everywhere. So I think if I wouldn't have drowned, probably one of Rain's kind would have taken me way more down there.
Only to demonstrate our wonderful hospitalities.
Oh yeah,
But
of
in
course,
the end,
hospitalities.
surviving and experiencing these dangerous things sharpens us to become dangerous tools ourselves.
I believe you're right, although I'm not quite sure I understand why.
Well, it might
I
be
might have to think
because
about
of
it.
the thrill that there's a possibility that you can die, and but maybe you're lucky enough to not to.
Huh.
So
I
I
never
don't
thought of
know
it
how
that
it
way.
is for you. Yeah, but I don't know how it is for you. I think if your power core goes out, you're not like completely gone. You can come back. Isn't it that way?
I I already did once, so I assume, judging by the current data I have, yes. Well, and I touched the part of my head where the damaged memory core is stored. I must say I didn't quite come back as myself, since I must assume I had at some point memories from since my creation, right? And I seem to have lost most of them. But I am here and alive, moving and thinking, so.
Yeah, well, you see, if Eva, Rain, or I die, we might not come back.
Oh, I am aware.
So
Although, what do you mean by might? I thought it was a permanent thing for organics. Are you
Uh,
speaking about magic? Maybe some kind of
yeah, there are
restoration?
some kind of magical ways to bring someone back for some time, or like in a different state. But yeah,
Oh, that is fascinating.
but this is really this is like really high magic shit.
And do you
That's
come back as the same person that you were? Do you still have your memories, or do you still have your personality? And
I don't know. I've never tried it out.
We'll have to let you know once we experience it ourselves. Well,
hopefully you'll
what
never
is
have
lost
to.
can be recovered in the most extreme of circumstances. A life or memories.
I wonder if that could work for my particular problem.
And if they are not lost, and sorry, if they are not recovered, then at the very least, something different can be gained.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I am quite enjoying my time with you both. So, and since I don't really have any recollection of what I am missing, I can't really mourn it. So,
To be fair, I would enjoy this time much more with you if you wouldn't stick on a fucking mountain with like a shitty weather and with basically having things that just want to kill us, or for me specifically, my fucking family that wants to kill me.
what is that about, by the way? If, of course, I don't mean to pray, and you don't have to tell us, but if it might help us protect you,
Or to
it might
temper
be
my
useful to
bloodlust in
know.
killing them when we return to Sharn.
Or that,
Well,
which
this is
might
a
be
very
useful,
long
yes.
story.
I'll redo the ice over our shelter.
As you redo the ice, you do hear again another lightning bolt that strikes fairly close by and like briefly illuminates the inside with a bright flash.
We have like
I turn to Delphine.
Yeah, I think we have time. Well, long story short, the wonderful House of Rwanda expected me to do different things that I did. Like to give a little bit insight, they tried to be like completely neutral during the war to grow their like trade routes, stuff, yada yada, and well, I didn't really went on the neutral path, more on the I'm taking a pretty good offer that could give me a lot of advantages, but is not like really pacifistic. So that didn't went well with my family, and they basically, in the end, when I returned, not willingly, they gave me some options. And although some of the older members of the house really wanted to see me basically, how could I call this? I will say gone is the best way to put this. So in the end, I'm still here. I'm basically the dog for all the shitty work that they gave me to work myself towards having my life back.
So if I may, your family is upset with you because you
Upset is
had
a little bit too nice.
the audacity to take a situation to your own advantage, ruining their own chances to be opportunistic, to put something to their own advantage, to grow their own power.
Yeah, kind of.
If there is anyone I should spare, please let me know.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation
Please let her
to
know.
place it like this. First, I need to find out who exactly gave the order to do this shit, because I don't think it was Darian.
We can have them floating in the middle of a sea during a storm and see how fast they move away from lightning strikes.
I'm wondering, I believe I'm probably missing something about the human condition, but if you're already trying to atone yourself by doing this work you didn't want to do in order to gain their favor again and the forgiveness, why try to assassinate you now? What kind of threat could you pose to them? No offense, but as I understand, one single person is rarely a threat to a whole house.
Oh, if it's about like the name of the house and basically all possibly ruining all the good words that have spread around the world about your fucking house, it's like it can destroy a lot.
Oh, right. So it's about the pride and reputation of
Yeah,
your
kinda.
fucking house.
Yeah.
And killing
Sorry
one's
for the
own
words, but
family members does not tarnish said reputation.
what? Can you please repeat it?
And killing off your own family members does nothing to tarnish said reputation they maintain.
No, well, there's something that's called like excoriation. In former times, this was basically besides banishing someone from the house, also cutting out their dragon mark if they possess one, and which basically meant that they are going to die. So they are not doing this anymore. But
You can do.
but if you're banished out of the house, it's you can't do any kind of like trades which are you can't get any kind of help from another house. I couldn't open a shop. I couldn't own like a ship. I couldn't do like basic trading with other people because I can't get like um the papers and everything. So no help, no one there who will to even help you, no one to ask. You can go into any enclave. You're kind of dead anyway.
Well, but if the name is the problem, certainly people must have changed their names before, right? Even if that would leave them with no inheritance, but it would give them a chance to start over.
Yeah, there's just this little problem.
Oh.
That's actually that dragon mark that I have. Which is like the basic thing that points out, hey, I'm part of this.
Couldn't you hide it? I don't think I've ever seen your mark.
It's hidden.
I wouldn't know.
As Delphine is talking, I'm going to minor illusion like a little so big Darian. And I'm just going to fling him against the wall. And little Darian is going to go flying. His neck cracks. And I'm just going to send him to the other side of the wall. And now his like knee is bent in an opposite direction. And it's just little Darian who is ping-ponging
Ah!
in this small shelter. Breaking.
Don't think of organic bodies
Oh,
supposed
thankfully,
to
it's
do
just.
that.
I look at Rebus and smile as I break little Darian doll in half and dissipate the spell.
Yeah.
Quite.
But like I said, I don't think he was the person who came up with this plan. He doesn't seems like that bright of a lamp.
So, well, then how high up goes it? Like, how high up does it go? Who wants you dead?
I don't know. All I know is after I did my last work, they sent me over to Sharn and basically said, okay, stay there and wait until we give you something more. I mean, they allowed me to join the guild, so it could be worse.
Yeah, and then immediately tried to assassinate you and frame it as an accident, which not promising.
I mean, I could have died from this fall when we did the Chan chicken, so. But it was fun.
You have a lovely little memory trinket of that time, of course.
Oh fuck! And I'm taking out the feather token. About that.
Wait, is that? It's that? That's not the 41,
Well,
is it?
it's the one we've got at the Chan chicken that Rayn
Oh,
gave me.
May it always
Wait,
keep
why
you
did
safe.
you?
Because clearly it has emotional value to her.
Oh, I'm sorry. I always forget about the emotional value of you.
I
Organics are so weird,
I-
very impractical.
to be fair, I forgot about it.
Rain is so upset, just like, how dare you?
While you are having this, I must say, very interesting conversation, could I get a round of perception checks from all of you?
Oh boy.
How
Here we go.
fun!
Don't worry. Not every dice roll is something
It's
terrible.
all good.
16 for Rain.
16 for
19.
Rain. 19 for Rebus.
I'm at 4.
4. All right. Which
Well, you were
is kind of
telling us your
fitting.
life story, you know.
Exactly. Delphine,
Very
you're
vaguely,
really
but yes.
you're giving you're giving the outline of your life story to your companions, and while you're in the story, and also there's lightning flashes and thunder, so it's all kind of distracting. But Rain and Rebus, while you're listening and sometimes peeking out through whatever openings you have in your shelter, you look out, and at one point you see, as lightning flashes, you see about 30 feet away from your shelter, you see like 2 large humanoid figures, and then the lightning flashes again, and they're gone.
Oh.
It's my vision malfunctioning. Did you see that, Miss Rain?
What?
The 2 figures outside, yes. What about them?
They were there, right?
Yes.
I have seen anything.
There were 2 large figures outside, and they disappeared in a flash. And they weren't too far away either. We might have to be on guard.
Thunder in the distance again.
How much space is in our hidey hole? Like, do we have 5 feet, 10 feet to our space, or we're all like literally in one square, like screening each other?
At best, the 3 of you are sharing up like 10 feet with each other.
So it's rather cozy.
It's cozy, yeah.
Would you like me to shoo them away?
Did I recognize what they could be? Maybe, yeah.
In
I don't-
this kind of
I'm not
weather,
sure
it's
they're
just a
still here.
flash of light briefly illumine. Like you couldn't. They were too. You could only see they were probably humanoid, and they were fairly large, but you couldn't like make out any details.
I can assist the storm in convincing them to go away if you'd like.
Oh, yes, that would. I believe that would be helpful.
If you two could just squeeze yourselves in the corner furthest away from me, and I will try to make at least 5 feet between us.
I grab Delphine, just like.
I feel so hugged today.
Going to open a little hole in the ice awning,
Mm-hmm.
and then for 5 feet in front of me, for 100 feet away, I'm going to just
Wow.
cantrip thunderclap. They are far enough away
Holy
that
shit.
they should not receive any damage.
Thunderclap.
But I want this to be so deafeningly loud to anything close to us that they're just going to eat away.
I hope it
I will
doesn't
put it literally the description.
cause an avalanche on
I
us.
understand.
Or like.
Well, the effect is on creatures. It doesn't say objects. It doesn't say that other things
Oh,
would be affected.
okay.
Yeah.
Specifically,
It
Because I
is
was like, I do not want a boulder falling on our roof right now.
if I'm reading this spell correctly, it affects only creatures.
And the range is 5 feet. You create it. It can be heard up to 100 feet away. Each creature within range other than you. You create a burst of thunderous sound that can be heard up to 100 feet away. Each creature within range, other than you, must succeed on a Constitution saving throw.
I did it with the intention that my friends are not within range. So that's why I said, do we have more than 5 feet? Yes, then squish yourself to that wall.
Ah, yes. Okay, got it.
Mhm.
I was looking at the 100 feet, and I was
That
thinking
would be
that
like a really bad spell.
Yeah.
Or an amazing spell, but for a cantrip,
for a cantrip, that would be amazing. Yeah. All right. Let me quickly roll something.
they're that close then. Okay.
Great. So convincing. Rayn.
You call this convincing?
Massive thunderclap.
You just right after one thunderclap was outside, you see Rayn causes another thunderclap that echoes right outside of your shelter. And through the noise of the rain coming down, you just quickly hear two rough voices outside shouting something to each other. Does any one of you speak Goblin?
Do I?
No.
No, Rebus, you don't speak Goblin.
Okay.
I still have it here. I still have it here. You just hear these rough voices going like, "But the guy," and then the other one shouting back like, "Bamozaga!" And then there's silence again, and you don't hear them anymore. You just hear the rain and the thunder again.
I think it worked.
I'll close
I'll
up the
be-
ice awning.
I'll be very silent, just trying to like actually. I don't know if I can see anything, but try to discern if they're still there.
You look out and try to see if you can see anything, but you don't spot any large or small or any kind of figures outside. What you do notice while you're looking out is that it seems like the rain is slowly calming down. Slowly seems to get a little bit better.
Oh, did we have a chance to get a short rest?
I guess
Also,
If you're in here, yeah, you can easily squeeze in a short.
do short rests help with exhaustion? I don't
No,
actually know.
only
how
long
it-
rests.
Only
long
long.
rests, yeah.
Well then, okay.
But if anyone wants to squeeze in a short rest for any kind of hit dice or something, feel free to do so.
I'm good.
Good.
Otherwise, as you're still here in your shelter, exchanging information, getting to know each other, making the most of your time here, you do notice that over the next hour, the rain slowly dies down until it's only a drizzle. The thunderstorm seems to have rolled over you, and the only kind of thunder that you can hear now is further and further away. Now, if you look out of your shelter, there's only a thin gray cloud cover outside and just this gentle drizzle of rain coming down. It's not the ideal circumstances, but it is way better circumstances to venture forth than you had earlier.
I shall inspect the outside.
You go ahead and inspect the outside. You move
I
by
will,
the complete.
Keep my hand nice and frosty as I walk around.
You push aside the now completely soaked winter coat of Delphine that served as a door covering, and you are outside, just feeling the drizzle on you. Seems safe. You don't see anything. There's gray clouds, mountains, and rocks, but nothing that seems dangerous.
Shut off the frosty effect. Seems fine outside.
I'm
Continue while
taking
there's light.
I'm taking off the soaking wet winter coat. Basically just holding it on the thing, like a bit away, like, nope, I'm not going to wear this in anytime soon.
Miss Delphine, I would offer to put it on my glaive next to the lantern, so it might get a chance to at least not wet all your other clothes. And whenever we get better weather, it might have a chance to dry.
I love the idea that Rebus is like has the glaive on their shoulder and there's the lantern on the end, but now there's also a coat hanging from it.
It looks like a person, with the lantern
Yeah.
as the head and now the coat on the.
Who? It's the ghost of Graywall Mountains. Who?
It's like the turnip scarecrow of Hall's Moving Castle. Just
Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
Okay.
mostly so you don't have to
are you-
carry it being all soaking wet and everything.
Yeah.
Are you gonna break up your camp and travel further on?
Yes,
Yes.
I think
Right.
so.
So you continue your journey, and it seems that you are fortunate in the sense that this weather you just experienced blew over and is now again replaced with sunshine after another hour of walking and a gentle breeze. You do see, it's almost as if if you look around, you see on the horizon, you see the edges of the clouds, but directly over you is just blue sky and the sun shining down. And you have a clear vision of that mountain range that you were going to. And you're actually making good time at this point. You notice that you get significantly closer. And as slowly night approaches, slowly the sun sinking behind the mountains and the mountains also casting their long shadows over you, you check up your map again, and considering how close you are to that mountain range that you're going to, should be fairly close to wherever the entrance to this valley would be. You can't pinpoint the exact place, but you're probably in the kind of area where it would make sense to like keep an eye out for any kind of hidden entrances, openings in the rocks, any kind of things that would point out a mysterious valley, whatever those might be.
Or, just also look over the edge to see if there's a valley just there.
That is a very
Which
legit and very
maybe-
efficient way of doing it, yeah.
I'm assuming it will be a bit harder to find than that, but one never knows, maybe people just don't come over here. Like, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you don't know.
Well, you do look over the edges down the mountains and you don't see any kind of magical valleys for now.
As we're walking along, or if Rebus has shared that, we're getting close to the entrance, not the valley itself.
Mhm.
I will briefly pull out the box containing the sapphire
Mhm.
and open the box and see if there's any particular glow or shine to this beautiful gem.
So, you take out the container with the sapphire,
Mhm.
and you open it. And the moment you open it, you have to squint your eyes because it glows brighter than you would have expected.
Oh,
There's
I'll cover the lid a little bit because I'm like, oh, that's a beacon.
and you cover it again, but there was certainly a glow to the sapphire.
It's quite
So,
bright now.
So it seems like we're close.
I guess let's keep an eye open for any hidden entrances in the rock.
Yeah,
any
I'm helping.
caves.
Put the thing back in my backpack.
Right. Let's make this a group check, and I would like you to either make depending on how you approach this, either make a perception, investigation, or nature check.
Okay. All checks are with disadvantage because I'm exhausted, or is it only the saving?
Yes, if you're exhausted,
It's
if you're
ability
exhausted,
checks.
then it's ability checks, which are these checks are
Oh.
with disadvantage.
that's so shit.
I make a straight roll.
Mhm.
6.
6. There's another 6 from Rebus.
So my first roll was a net 20, the second one was a 19.
Wow.
Yes!
Wow. Nice.
We have someone who's
Nice.
actually worth it. Let's go.
Hey!
Thank good-
Rayn
thank
and
goodness.
Rebus,
Thank God- yes.
skill were your rolls? What did you?
For me, it was investigation.
Investigation.
Perception, I guess.
Mm,
I'm having perception as well.
okay. Rebus, Rebus and Rayn, you both start keeping an eye out for things. And Rebus, if you're using investigation, you're like trying to look like for things that might point you out to any kind of hidden entrances or pathways that are easily overlooked. You see if you see any traces that might lead you there. And you find yourself getting really lost in the details of things, that you might be over analyzing things like, hey,
the
this rock
crevices
from
in the rock, just like.
right, yeah, and you're like, this crevice, this looks suspicious, but then you look in there or reach in with your hand, and there's just these bunch of bats flying out of it, disturbed by you. You see rock formations that look suspicious, but maybe are just natural rock formations. And Rayn, you are looking around, taking in the sights, and there's actually one point where the three of you are walking, and there's this little plateau that just gives you the most amazing view of the mountains and the valley in the distance.
I'll go
And
run up to it and like Titanic at the top, at the front.
Please don't fall.
you feel the wind under your arms, take in the scenery. There is even like an eagle screaming above you. It's a perfect picture, but it doesn't help you find the hidden valley. And Delphine, as your companions are doing their contributions to this search, you still feel the exhaustion in you from the weather, the storm, the cold seeping into you. But you are on a mission. You have a task. You want to finish this.
It's cold. I
and-
want to finish it. Yeah,
Exactly. You want to, as you said yourself in your eloquent words, you want to get off this fucking mountain. And after the three of you looking around for maybe another 2 hours, as the sun is now hidden behind the mountains and it's really getting dark, Delphine, you see this crevice in the side of one of the mountainous walls. Like it's narrow, but if you and your companions would go a bit sideways, squeeze in there, you think there's a pathway beyond this crevice. And you can hear on the inside, you hear distant sounds of water dripping.
Okay, I'm going to that thingy and we'll see if I could squeeze myself through.
Right?
Where are you going?
You have well,
100
you see Delphine like
127
positioning herself
hours.
sideways, and you. No, God, no. You see her position herself sideways, and now Rebus and Rayn, you also see this crevice in the side of the mountain, and Delphine is slowly squeezing herself in there.
I'll squeeze in behind her because that looks like she's going somewhere fun.
Do I even fit in, or if I'm
It's
You're stuck.
it's not that you're like that it's that tight that you have to hold your breath or something, but you can't you can at most like walk diagonally in it,
Yeah.
because if you would like just full frontal, your shoulders would not fit.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you really have to, at some points you brush up against the wall in front or behind you, but it's not that narrow that you keep on bumping into things.
Do I
Okay.
fit behind them?
That's next week.
Do you want to try?
Yes, well, I would like to assess if my frame will
Oh,
somehow fit
right.
in there. Yeah.
Well, you look at your companions squeezing their way into this crevice, and you look at the opening, at the space. Look at your own figure. Position yourself. Reach with an arm in. Yeah, you could fit, but there might be some scratches on your plating afterwards.
Well, I'm wearing a coat as well, which, you know. But,
Then there's going to be a few scratches on your coat.
well, I will wait outside in case they need help, like getting out, and in case this leads nowhere or it leads to danger. And if I hear from Rayn or Delphine, like I'll just ask, did you find anything? Does it go anywhere?
As she has that, Rayn and Delphine, both of you are a little bit ahead in this narrow, what turns out to be a bit of a tunnel. And after about 25 feet through this narrow space, you step into a cave, a cavernous space. Ceiling is maybe like 3 meters high, so all of you can stand upright, but it's not super high. There's rubble and rocks here, and there is certainly no light here. But thanks to your dark vision, you can at least perceive these things in black and white around you. And you see that from this cave, there's a few other tunnels leading further into whatever cavernous system this is. And you can hear all around you, like dropping from the ceiling, are these drops of water. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
I'm shouting back. Seems safe here. If you want, you can come, or if you can.
Okay, then I'll get myself in the best position possible. I don't know if it's better, like if I crawl, I'll make my way somehow in there.
Yeah. You shift your body, go a bit more sideways, and even like lower yourself a little bit, and you start shimmying slowly through the narrow space. And you do notice that your coat rubs up against some of the rocks, and it's kind of like the rocks that stick out. So at some points you have to like pull your coat off of whatever rock it gets stuck in. But eventually you also come into the same cave where the rest of your companions are. And you are in this cave system at this point.
Is the ceiling visible? Like, is the area in front of us completely visible?
Yes.
And we see these assorted tunnels in front of us, presumably going in separate directions, right?
At least you see separate tunnels.
Okay, then what I'd like to do, if I can see the ceiling above us and the immediate area we're in looks safe, I'm going to pull the box back out with the gem. And I'm going to like not open the lid entirely wide open, but I'm just going to crack it open. And I'm just going to give a walk past these entrances and see if the crystal happens to glow brighter in front of any one of them.
I was going to take out the lantern to illuminate the scene, but seeing that Rayn is going to do that, I'm going to actually wait and just like be in the darkness, only with the light of the sapphire.
Gotcha. You crack the box open a little bit, with allowing the light to glow out of it, and you give it move past these various passageways. And as you get to like the one far on the right, there's like this flicker in the glow, like this, that it briefly gets brighter and then a bit dimmer.
It has sound effects and everything, yeah.
There seems to be some reaction in the sapphire in this direction. That seems promising. Shall we?
Good as anything.
Close
Yeah.
box. Put it back in my bag.
Rebus
And
goes
just,
over and
if I
like,
just start walking in front, I'll just start walking.
Yeah, I'm walking in the back because if we can squeeze in here and we haven't seen the goblins that followed us the day before, they might also be following.
Right.
Goblins.
Rebus
You're
follows
goblins.
and
The things beyond our shelter seemed far bigger than goblins, but then again, I am not the foremost expert on goblins.
oh, I think she might be referring to the ones before we took a break, before the storm.
Yeah.
Ah, more company then.
To clarify, the tunnels ahead of you are, for all of you, wide enough to walk through. There might be some kind at some points that the ceiling in the tunnels gets a little bit lower, and the taller among you have to like duck down a bit. But they're at least wide enough for you, as long as you walk single file, to walk through these tunnels. And from what you can see, these seem to be natural caves, formed through the forces of erosion. You walk by puddles of water from the liquid and the water that drips from the ceilings. And the air in here is also, it is cool, but it's also very fresh. It's like really nice to inhale how clean the air in here is. Until you walk through these caves for about maybe 20 minutes, just 20 minutes. And you start noticing there's a shift in the air around you. Not just in the air, also in the temperature. You notice that as you progress, it feels as if there's, from further ahead of you, there's a warm breeze rolling into the caves. But you also, there's also a bit of a stinging smell in the air.
Like sulfur or something?
It's not sulfur-like, it's more, it's a bit
Chlorine?
rotten. It's a bit rotten smell.
Oh, right. Something has died in here.
So rotten, alive, not musky, potentially.
No, like,
Okay.
and as you say that, Delphine, that something has died in here, you do see in one of the cave rooms that you step into, you see, as you step in, there is a body, or at least what remains of it. There's a body of what must have been a hobgoblin, a larger, lanky figure, clad in chainmail and remains of a belt with a few daggers on his body, but one half of the body looks as if it's just was dissolved away. Like there's no remains of bones or flesh or clothing. It's just like burned away.
That
And
makes it
there's
so much
from
worse.
what remains of the body. From remains from the body, there comes this rotting smell as the part of the corpse that remains is decomposing.
I want to search the body.
Fascinating.
I want to assess the kind of, I was gonna say the cause of death, but like now it seems obvious, but I want to search for any other wounds that might give us a clue what they did.
Gotcha.
Okay,
And
you're looking for wounds. I'm looking for treasures on the dead body. And
I'll keep alert while they're digging the body.
Gotcha. All right.
I'm such a grave robber.
Delphine, can you give me an investigation check? And Rebus, can you give me a medicine check, please?
With disadvantage.
Oh, this
With
die is so
disadvantage.
much
With-
better.
Yay.
with disadvantage for those that have exhaustion.
Fuck. I forgot about this. Oh, this die is so much better than my last one.
12.
12.
So this is still a 17.
17. All right. While Delphine is rifling through the remains of the body, Rebus, you're looking over these wounds, and whatever remains of the body on the edges, these are clearly acidic burns. Whatever mutilated this body did with some kind of acid burning through the flesh and the bones. And it is briefly at this moment that you, just for a brief moment, there's a flash of a memory where you just see the image of a soldier who is holding onto a wound that is still steaming from whatever acid is burning into it. But the image just flashes by. Delphine, you rifle through the body or through the clothing or whatever remains there. Well, there are two fairly well-made daggers on this hobgoblin. And the chainmail that he's wearing, or at least what remains of the chainmail, is also was fairly well made. It's pretty nice armor. There's also, he has a bit of coin.
Not acid resistant.
He has a bit of coin on him. You can find 9 silver pieces. And there are also 12 copper pieces on him. And for the rest, underneath his chainmail, he had also fairly well-made leather and cloth clothing, like a shirt and pants. And for the rest, there's nothing else of worth or interest on him.
Okay.
Rayn, while your party members are assessing and rifling through the body, can you give me a perception check, please?
Nope, 1. Total 1.
We're doomed.
You hear
A
at this
house.
point, while mixing with the sound of the or that your companions are making, checking up on the body, you just hear these almost rhythmic sounds of water dripping. It reminds you of some of like these flood caverns that you might have swam into when you were still out in the ocean. There's a rhythm to it, a beat to the water as it finds a way everywhere.
And I'm just literally going, as I'm keeping watch, I'm like,
And
Wow.
as you just, with your eyes closed, moving your fingers with the rhythm, it is only when you feel extra weight on your foot
Oh no.
that you open your eyes and you see this gray amorphous mass of ooze
Oh, God.
trying to slither up your leg, and you
that will not do.
see on the edges of your vision, there's another 2 of these oozes creeping their way towards your party here in this cavern. And how that's going to turn out, we're going to find out next week, as we're going to end the session
No!
here today.
But
Okay.
why?
I don't know if it will be relevant, but I just want to remind you of my alert feed that says that I can't be surprised while I'm conscious. So just
That is good that you mentioned that. We do have to keep that in mind, so that there's at least one person here that is not surprised by whatever is sneaking up
is-
on you.
actually made for like keeping guard, even if my perceptions are
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah.
Just for notice, I took the daggers.
Took the daggers, all right.
Of course. And the
Yeah,
money.
You don't
I didn't took the chainmail because I don't need it.
It's
Alright.
probably missing like half of it anyway, so.
Yeah. It's
Exactly.
also probably
Fine.
too big for myself.
Yeah, I can't wait
Which means
for
that
some battle.
next session we're going to start with a bit of action. and
Yay!
see how that turns out. You did very well surviving the weathers and the dangers of the storm. Creative solutions there. That was a good job, and also good use of the time of being stuck together in the shelter and having a little bit of conversation with each other.
It
That
was
fun.
really fun. I enjoyed the role playing a lot.
So were all the
Exactly.
cursing.
This was
Made sense.
that was basically a campfire conversation without the campfire, but
Yeah.
a nice
This was the
warm.
fire.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, all the cursing, it's just going to change Rebus's vocabulary, which is going to be very funny. Cause,
Wow.
You can't curse around the warforged. So-
It's just there's
We
still
must
too much
protect-
salt in Delphine.
the sea life, that does that too.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, that was it for today. But before we go out for tonight, any kind of announcements or projects that are coming up for any of you that you would like to share?
I need to get to work. I am stressing out because I am on vacation. I haven't started, which vacation should be for relaxing, but I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh, I have so many projects that I need to work on. Mostly some commissions, so that's really fun. I'll keep you all
Cool.
updated.
Nice.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Well, if there's nothing else going on, we will see you all back next week then. Same channel, same time.
Please come join us. We had fun.
Exactly. Come join us on our socials, and we hope to see you next week. And take care of yourself. And see you next week, Tuesday. Have a nice evening.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.